Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Jaya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Patita Pavana Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Patita Pavana Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Patita Pavana Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Patita Pavana Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva.
Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananda Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. All glories are to Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj. Over to you, Maharaj.
Jai. Harunama, 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 Eva Kevalo. Kalo, Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva. Gatir Anyata. Let's see now, let's stop our video and see, you can screen hour.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. Here's Hanuman delivering the good news to Sita. Okay. Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam namaskrityam
Naram Shaiva Narottamam
eva manottamam
Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam
devim saraswatim vyasam
Tato Jayam Udirayat
yotakirmudeyapem
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
namo bhagavate vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
namo bhagavate vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
namo bhagavate vasudevaya.
So we're looking at the Lord pacified by the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. And of course, this is seventh canto. I think this is 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 9, 7, 8. This is one of Krishna's arms. 7 and 8 are his arms, 9 is his throat, 10 is his smiling face. So very advanced, you know. And to appreciate the advanced lessons in these verses and everything else, almost have to be able to go there, enter into the actual pastime, eternal pastimes. Of course, the Bhagavatam is an anthology, presented by um, Sutta to the sages, as he heard it from Sukadeva Goswami, being written by Vyasadeva, and then to enlighten Parikshit Maharaj, to give him the proper attitude, to give him proper bhava, not just understanding things in terms of some kind of computer logic. If A, then B, which is one way to do it. Following the rules of grammar. But actually to catch the whole essence of the thing as is possible for us with human intelligence, the perspective, the attitude. Then our Baba, yam yam vapi smaran babam chachityanti kalevanam. Then we don't come back. Yeah. And even if we're traveling in the material world on behalf of Krishna, again, it's like a prison guard. He's promoted from being a prisoner, and then he stays there as a prison guard or a psychologist or a maintenance person, for different reasons. Krishna wants him to be there. He, she, or it. So the Bhagavatam, is meant for this, not only for this liberation, but also to take us through Vaikuntha, through Lila avatars, to Mathura, to Vrindavan, yeah, to Orca, yeah, and it can take us all the way to the Rasa Lila, yeah. So such an incredible opportunity, yeah. And it's all being presented in such a lucid fashion by Srila Prabhupada, so we can understand he has a lucid perception of it by hearing it from somebody who had a lucid perception of it, and then applying it, and then realizing this is the best way to experience the world even around us. To see that Krishna is behind everything, is the whole purpose for all this. So in the sixth canto, there was a story of the sixth canto. Oh yeah, the sixth canto, it comes to the story of Vritasura, and he was harassing all the demigods, you know. But then it appears that Krishna is partial. He is partial to the demigods. He's not really equal to everybody. He took the side of the Vritasura. So in the beginning of the seventh canto, then Maharaj Parikshit says, well, he's supposed to be equal to everyone, samoham and something sarvabhuteshu. But he took the side of the demigods against Vritasura and arranged so many things. So then Sukadeva Goswami starts to tell this story. And really it's a story about Hiranyakasipu. It's not a story about Prahlad Maharaj, because Hiranyakasipu was a big demon. I guess maybe even a bigger demon than Vritasura, come down to it. Yeah, yeah. Um, but even still, because he was approaching the Lord, he was approaching the Lord in anger, enmity, all these kind of things. Even still, he got such an exalted position by doing this, you know, by focusing his mind on the Lord, even in anger. You know, people hate their boss, they hate their job, they hate their family, they hate their body, they hate their country, they hate the war, they hate their dinner, they hate the movie. Yeah. But a very, 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 very rare to find somebody who hates Krishna with consciousness of who he is and what is the material world and everything else. You know, when the Hiranyakasipu's children, or a fat brother, Hiranyaksa, was getting his funeral ceremony, Hiranyakasipu gave very, very philosophical discussions with them about what is this world, what are the results, who are we, and very high level, you know. But it didn't go to the ultimate cause behind everything else. So it's like, again, it's like looking at all the puppets but no puppeteers. Yeah. So in that position, then uh, he was able to focus on the Lord, grand enemy, yeah, yeah, and get liberation. His body merged into like Shishupal. I think it starts with the story of Shishupal, and it goes to the previous lives like that. So, as part of this whole thing is the story of Prahlad. Kind of like Sita had to be kidnapped so Ravana could get into this position. You know, Prahlad had to be harassed by his father, you know, so the same thing could happen. So we may feel ourselves going through many difficulties, but at the same time, Krishna will be giving us not something strange or esoteric. We'll be feeling like this is all kind of like external as for us. Krishna seems to have a certain purpose for all these things. So this is all for a certain purpose. Something's happening, you know. Yeah. So so Prahlad Maharaj was going through all these things and just taking advantage of the instructions that he received from Narada Muni. Previous lifetime seems to have been quite an elevated person. But then he started receiving instructions from Narada Muni even before he was born, like Sukadeva Goswami, like Maharaj Pariksit. So, and he was able to, in a position to take these instructions, listen to them, contemplate them. You know. Then, of course, when his father came back, he became a school child, and maybe quite innocent of the broader circumstances of things. But then, this of course created conflict with his father, Hiranyakasipu, you know, who wanted him to grow up and be a demon like him. It's interesting, like Ravana and Indrajit. And so as a result, of course, he kept harassing him and was going to finally kill him. And it's, of course, a very, very dramatic story, you know, of Nrsingadev, what, you know, yeah, and Hiranyakasipu and him being killed in spite of all of his benedictions and everything else, you know. So that'll be a large part of the Prahlad's prayers, you know. A lot of Prahlad's prayers are coming about this point about how am I qualified to offer you prayers, and considering all my qualifications and everything else. But of course, we maybe have heard this from Prabhupada, and we can then can kind of like put aside all these qualifications or disqualifications, you know. Kali Yuga, I'm not Lord Brahma. Yeah, yeah. And then try and put them aside and try and pray to Krishna. And if we do, then we realize that the real thing is being a devotee. And we're doing so many rituals with Mangal Arati, Kirtan, Japa, so many things, you know, social things like that. But the real thing is how we're doing it for Krishna. And as soon as that perspective comes in Prabhupada's association, then we can judge it very simply. I'm just not doing much at all for Krishna. I'm offering these things and everything else for my satisfaction, you know. But okay, I can try a little bit, you know. And even though I'm not so sincere, I mean, how much can I be? And just keep pushing and realizing that, boy, it's been years that Prabhupada's been hanging on to us, you know, and this, you know, keeping us afloat. But how much can he do it if we're going to be leaving our bodies and everything else and so on? So very serious, you know, very serious. So the very, very nice prayers. And I was trying to look at the logical flow and why he's thinking about why he changes the topic, why he's talking about this thing and that thing. In the beginning, he's talking about the actual current situation and what it symbolizes, and people try to approach the Lord, and he's the only one who can approach him, and asking him to put aside this terrible anger, which actually prevents people from accomplishing the purpose of his incarnation, because he came to create a pacified mood. But the Lord Himself is so angry that nobody can approach Him or anything else, you know, then it's difficult, because yeah, actually at heart, Lord Brahma, everybody else, maybe not Lord Shiva, but mostly everybody else, we're all demons, in varying degrees. So when Krishna is out to kill the demons, down to the last microscopic, minuscule, protein fiber of the 1/10,000th of a tip of a hair, then we're going to get it too. Yeah, yeah. So somehow or other, Krishna sends Guru, and in these prayers, Prahlad will say he was simply being carried away. There's just no question about it. Our sincerity, anything else, even devotion to God. Because so many people, Ajamil was devoted to God, but it was a general thing, more like Brahman with some conception of God, maybe this way and that way. You know, so so all of us are being carried away. He says, I was being carried away, but Narada Muni, your servant, came and served. He captured me and helped me. So how can there be anything other than my service to him? I owe him everything. So very, very nice for purifying our relationship with devotees, with Prabhupada, by considering how much people have done for us. The temple in Atlanta, Radha, Radha, Nathbar altar, all these things were done by people who probably in many, many cases weren't paid at all, hardly anything to do them, And for Krishna, for Prabhupada, there may be some sense of the fact that this will be useful to others. So we have such an obligation to so many people, and how can we, not serve them? So this verse is one that's very, very nice verse. Maybe we can repeat. Soham priyasya surida paradevataya.
Sohasya priyasya Suradevataya
Lila katas tavana shringa virancha gita.
Leela Kathastavana Singha Vrancha Gita
Think a little bigger there. Anjastitarmi manugrinam guna vipramukto.
Anjastitame Anugraman Gunavipramukto
Durganite pada yugalaya hangsa sangha.
Durganite Padayugalaya Santa Sangha.
So, translation by Srila Prabhupada. Oh, my Lord, Shringadeva. And no one's seen this before. So here he's giving a Lord to the form of name to this Lord, this form. He's calling him Nrsimha. Nrsimha. Oh, my Lord, Nrsimha Deva. By engaging in your transcendental loving service in the association of devotees who are liberated souls, monks, I shall become completely uncontaminated by the association of the three modes of material nature, and be able to chant the glories of your Lordship, who are so dear to me. I shall chant your glories, following exactly in the footsteps of Lord Brahma and his disciplic succession. In this way, I shall undoubtedly be able to cross the ocean of nescience. Okay. And again, Soham priyasya suhrada paradevataya lila katas tavanashringa virensha gita. Anjas Titarmi Anugrinam Guna Vipramukto Durgani Te Pada Yugalaya Hangsa Sangha Saha that Aham I Pralad Priyasya of the dearmost Suhrid, a well-wisher, Paradevataya of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lila Kataha, narrations of the pastimes Tava, Ura Nishringa, O Lord Nishringadev, Virincha Gita, given by Lord Brahma by the disciplic succession, songs of Virinchi, Aja, Anjana, Anja, easily, Titarmi, I shall cross, Anugadanam, constantly describing, Guna, by the modes of material nature, Vipamukta, specifically being uncontaminated, Durgani, all miserable conditions of life, Te, of you, Padayuga Alaya, fully absorbed in the meditation on the lotus feet, Hangsa Sangaha, having the association of Hangsas or liberated persons who are no contamination with material activities. So ham priyasya suhrada paradevataya lila kata stapanashringa virinchigita anjash titarmi anugrihnam gunavipramuktam Durganite Padayugalaya Hangsa Sangha. O my Lord Nrsingadev, by engaging in your transcendental loving service, very dear, Priya, in the association of liberated devotees, I shall become completely uncontaminated by the association of the three modes of material nature, and be able to chant the glories of your Lordship who are so dear to me. So it's all about how to see things properly, even though we're in our prison cell. We're in the prison cell. We're not qualified to come out yet. We're too crazy. You know, but we're starting to see everything in the proper proportion and see all the advantages there, and how that even though I'm a prisoner, the government has done so many arrangements to try and make things, sane for me. I shall chant your glories, following exactly in the footsteps of Lord Brahma and his disciplic succession, Virinchi. In this way, I shall undoubtedly be able to cross the ocean of nescience. A devotee's life and duty are very well explained herein. As soon as a devotee can chant the holy name and glories of the Lord, what's the glories of what his qualities and activities, Tanama Rupa Charitadi, and his associates, these are all his glorious aspects, can chant the holy name and glories of the Supreme Lord, he certainly comes to the liberated position. Attachment for glorifying the Lord by hearing and chanting, the Lord's holy name and activities, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, certainly brings one to the position where material contamination is absent. A natural result of music is you want to dance, you want to move in a certain way. The elements are produced one after another. And the gross level, then if there's proper sound, then there's proper motion, and the movement and everything else, then we can organize our experiences of the world in terms of what we see and so on. One should chant the bona fide songs received from the disciplic succession. Of course, this is a song. Srimad Bhagavatam is a song. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God, it is said that the chanting is powerful when one follows the disciplic succession. Evam param para praptam imam rajar shrayo vidahu. Manufacturing many ways of chanting will never be effective. However, chanting the song or the narration left by the previous acharyas, Mahajano Yenagata Sapantaha, is extremely effective. So many nice songs, and we may be inclined to something else in terms of modern poetic literature. Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisaya Kavitam. Yeah, not even beautifully poetically described things, and so much wonderful activity coming out of Hollywood or these places, putting together extra things. And these things may touch upon karma, righteous activities, or jnana, wisdom, and knowledge. Marcus Aurelius. Who else do we have? Chanakya Pandit. He's a politician. But that's the point. That even though they're very subtly, they're celestial in that sense, taking us to Maharloka or Indraloka or the moon planet. Even while we're in this world, we can have such an adjustment in terms of understanding how things work and taking advantage of them and live in a mode of very much extreme goodness with poetry and all of these kind of things, music. You know? But none of these things, really get rid of the root contamination of the three modes of material nature, and therefore we can't really, see Krishna. As soon as we become purified like this, then we see Krishna in everything, all the things that are happening to us and everything else. We can't hide it. Jagadananda was talking with Lord Chaitanya, was trying to glorify him as Krishna, and then Lord Chaitanya said, "Oh, why are you saying this? You should not describe me like this. This is blasphemous. I'm just an ordinary person." And Jagadananda said, "Okay, I quit. I quit." He was outside, so he held his hand up. He's holding it up. And Lord Chaitanya said, "What are you doing now?" He said, "Oh, I'm blocking the sun with my hand." Like that. Like, yeah, you're not Krishna. Yeah, it's like this and that. But you try and disguise yourself. How can it be disguised? Mhm. Extremely effective, and this process is very easy. Therefore, in this verse, Prahlad Maharaj uses the word anjaha, easily accepting the thoughts of exalted authorities through disciplic succession is certainly much easier than the method of middle speculation, by which one tries to invent some means to understand the supreme truth. Yeah. So, yeah, and of course we experience it. The parampara is a living thing. If we're actually following Prabhupada's instructions, and he's instructing us right away: go through this door, go through this door. Or sing the songs by Narottam. And if we're singing the songs by Narottam Thakur and what he's saying, Radha Krishna Pranamor, Yuga Lucky Shore, Jivane Marane Gati Nahi, Jivane Marane Gati Nahi Aramor. Then we can realize that he's a Manjari. And what's it like? This little 8-year-old girl is singing these songs. Radha and Krishna are my life and soul. I don't care what you do. You can chop me up in little pieces. I will never, ever give a worshiping Radha and Krishna. You can say all bad things about Radha and Krishna and their activities, but I won't accept it. Yeah. So then it becomes very, very incredible, thinking that even externally is incredible, but internally. So as we're singing and following these things, and we become the people who write these songs, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Narottam Das Thakur, they're wherever, if we're singing these things, and they have consciousness of these things, their servants have consciousness of these things, what we're doing. If a dog is doing something a little extraordinary, every night the dog goes down and waits for his master to get off the train. Many stories like this. Even though the master has been dead for 20 years, the dog's not that long, 5 years. The dog is every there where his master used to receive him, and people then give him a little help to, in his life and so on. So disciplic succession of hearing these songs by previous acharyas, hearing the poetry by the previous acharyas. And of course, in so many purports and everything else, Prabhupada says we can understand from Narottam, we can understand from Sridhar Swami, we can understand from Madhvacharya and these commentaries. So many songs and everything else Prabhupada gave us. Of course, this is poetry, chanting these prayers. This is Sanskrit, and appreciating the changes of meter and everything else. Very, very, very purifying experience. Yeah. Okay. The best process to accept the instructions of the previous acharyas. The best process is to accept the instructions of the previous acharyas and follow them. So not just hearing them, but actually applying them. They're things that engage all of our senses and mind in Krishna service. Then God realization and self-realization become extremely easy. By following this easy method, one is liberated from the contamination of the material modes of nature and therefore one can certainly cross the oceans of nescience, in which there are many miserable conditions, by following, and also many happy conditions too. Either one, we we get absorbed either in material bad conditions, miserable conditions, or in good conditions. It's the same thing. By following in the footsteps of the great acharyas, one associates with the Hongsas, or Paramahamsas, those who are completely freed from material contamination. Indeed, by following the instructions of the acharyas, one is always freed from all material contamination, unless one's life becomes successful or one reaches the goal of life. And of course, there are different instructions. If you're on Adoshvada, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Nartanivriti, Nishta, Ruchi, Asaktis, Bhava, Prema. And if you're advancing from Sakya Bhava to, Vasalya Bhava, how much Vasalya Bhava does Murari Gupta feel for Nimai? I thought he was a classmate in a classmate, but much older. But it appears he was actually the same age as um, Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra in many ways. He was an adult. So he feels so much Vatsalya, for Nimai, although he's an incarnation of Hanuman. So many different kinds of purifications that go on and enhancing our service more and more and more profoundly. And the acharyas are giving us instructions. Prabhupada's giving us instructions, for depending on what level we're on. Yeah. Raghunath Das Goswami was living on one leaf cup of buttermilk a day. Then he decided it was too much living on. It's a chach. It's not even buttermilk, really. And yogurt, like we think of. It's what's left over after you spend. So he was living on once every 3 days. He would take it like that. But that his position in his spiritual development, also position in terms of his service. Okay. This material world is measurable, regardless of one's standard of life. Of this, there is no doubt. Attempts to mitigate the miseries of material existence by material methods will never be successful. One must take to Krishna consciousness to become really happy. Otherwise, happiness is impossible. One might say that becoming advanced in spiritual life also involves tapasya. One might say that becoming advanced in spiritual life also involves tapasya, voluntarily accepting some inconvenience. However, such inconvenience is not as dangerous as material attempts to mitigate all material miseries. Yeah. And so, the tapasya in material life, if we have the actual proper consciousness, is at every moment is great. It's a wonderful gift. We're reading somewhere in all the different classes we're attending with different people. It's probably saying that every single thing that comes to a devotee, we have to, if we have proper consciousness, we can see that, that whatever is happening is actually good. From a spiritual point of view, it's all ecstatic. So that's kind of a very nice purport here. And Prahlad goes on. I think as he starts at verse number 8 or something. It goes on to 50 verses or something, 55 verses in this chapter, and verse 50 finishes off Prahlad's prayers, and it starts in verse number 5 or something. So many prayers, and trying to not get hung up in the details and look at the overall structure of his ideas. But as we're saying in the beginning, he's just kind of like pointing out what is the current situation and what are the necessities. And later on, he'll even talk about Sankhya, of course, again, about how Krishna has created this atmosphere so we can understand better what the three modes of material nature actually are. Yeah. So any questions or comments at this point here? Yeah.
So, Maharaj, you started off saying that how Prahlad Maharaj knew that he was Narsingadev.
I started off by saying what?
You said that first time he was seen by in this form. So how did Prahlad Maharaj realize that this is Narsingadev because of his form?
Well, yeah, because he's standing in front of him as half man, half lion. So he's calling him, Sringadev. But Lord, before him was Sriman Narayan, was known, and you know. So yeah, the Lord had come as a giant boar, habali in Spanish. So yeah. But this is the first time this form hadn't been seen before. Okay, yeah, but they could realize by so many things, so many qualifications and everything else. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Somebody may not realize that the Shingadev is this and that, but they say, well, people, there's great sages and stuff are saying it, but at least I know he's more powerful than Indra, and he's more powerful than Hiranyakasipu, who killed Indra. And so this is the way I should go. And with some purification, it seems that he is transcendental to all these things.
Yes, Maharaj.
There's children there's life carrying on in the background. You can hear it.
Mm. Okay. Any other questions? Comments for Maharaj? Beautiful works, Maharaj. You whole all the prayer, the 55 verses, say that Saroji suggested that we should next week we should read all these verses and in the honor of Nursing Chaturdashi. So I hope that works.
Yeah. What are they saying in the background? You become quiet. Tagore Sundar, you've Tagore Sundar, you've okay. Yeah. Your microphone is muted. Yeah. Hello, sir.
Yes, Maharaj. So
There we go
think
again. Yeah.
Anyone else has any comments or questions?
There are 15 participants. We have Hanuma Swami in Natya Sala office. That's just Sala. Yes, Bye-bye.
Yeah, this is
Abhishek. Ankar Singh. Yeah. Tanu, Abhishek. Okay. Yeah. Shashi Prakash, Saroj, Nirja Singh. Yeah. So Shihari is in the Natya Sala office. Yeah. Yeah. Our Sankirtan had been going very, very well, in terms of Neos and so many things. We're going to be talking maybe with Hari Parishad. I was discovered on the YouTube. He has a channel. He has something like 25 lectures on Nectar of Instruction. So we couldn't get to them yet, but he did answer our WhatsApp and just saying we wanted maybe to talk to him a little bit about his activity. But the thing is, all these people we're meeting and stuff, they're all like candidates to be teaching here, in NEO's campus, on different topics, and can be arranged very, very practically in terms of a syllabus and curriculum. Yeah. So we want to thank everybody as usual for this chance to associate with Radha Bar's devotees. We're trying to glorify them with beautiful words and also with nice architecture. Yeah.
If there are no questions, then we'll request Chandrika Prabhu to lead us in nursing a prayer, and then.
Yes, Prabhuji. Namaste. Haya. Vela, Vela. Hiranya. Urvaksha. Silatanga. To Nashingo. Parato Nashingo. Yato Yamitato Nashingo. Bahe Narshingo Hridahe Narshingo Narasimha Madim Saranam Prabhate Narasimha Madim Saranam Prabhate Tavakara Kamalavare Aka Arbuda Shringa Talita Hiranyakashipu Tano Bringa Kesavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Dev Jaya Pralat Maharaj Jaya Pralat Maharaj Jaya Pralat Maharaj Jaya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Jaya Padita Pavana Srila Prabhupada Jaya Padita Pavana Srila Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya Ananda Puri Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. August Hare Krishna.
With this, we close the program for tonight. Let's say Vaishnava Pranam. Thank you, Maharaj, again.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Vanchakalpa
Vanchakalpa Kripaya Shakripa Shanti
Krishna Kripa
Pavanebhyo
Sindhu
Vaishnava